It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you all haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. That way you'll never miss when we're going live and in living color in your living room or wherever else you watch Dishin Days. Also, if you haven't signed up for our exclusive members only page, make sure you do that now. Just head over to our YouTube channel, click the join button, and for $4.99 a month, you'll get an exclusive first look at some of our days content, plus a little extended version of Those Were the Days, brought to you by Justin Lee Hareld, and some friendly advice from the coolest Thea we know. Ms. Araceli Aviles gives you Thea Says, where she gives advice to one of our these characters that needs it badly. Also, you can participate in many of our virtual events, such as our happy hour, which is scheduled for this month, and also our After the Dish event, where we talk exclusively about Days of Our Lives, and also more and more things that you can get. So make sure you join right now. Only $4.99 a month. I would say while supplies last, but supplies are in plenty. Also, if you can't watch us and you need to take us along that long car ride, or while you're traveling around for the holidays and doing the hustle and bustle of grocery shopping, Christmas present shopping, Christmas tree shopping, or whatever it is that you need to do to get into the holiday spirit, you can always stay in tune with all the stunt shows and shenanigans that have been happening in Salem. Find us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And just so our Spotify people will know, we can now upload this video to Spotify. So you can watch us live. Well, not live, but you can actually see us on Spotify. So go ahead, find us on your favorite podcast station, Dishin Days, and take us along with you. Also, make sure you show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., who is serving up a couple of nice spooks and sports of his own. Over at JLJ Media, you can find original audio dramas and also recaps of the other soap operas, such as Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and Young and the Restless. And make sure you show James Lott Jr. some love, because being my oldest and dearest friend, James Lott Jr. is the only person that I know that had a conversation with the first turkey.
Before they chopped off its head.
And served it up on a platter with mashed potatoes. Thus, we have Thanksgiving. Also, during our show, make sure you tell us your thoughts. You can either participate in our chat if you're watching live, or make sure you comment below later. I promise we read the comments. We may not reply to them, but we are reading them. Also, shout out to Mr. Michael Mattis, who you can see is not with us today because he is photographing the bestest Christmas parade in town. The Hollywood Christmas Parade is about to be underway in just a few hours, and he is doing photos for it. So shout out to Michael Mattis, who will probably not pay attention to this broadcast, but at least if he does, he'll listen to it long enough to know that we gave him a shout out.
He's going to go find any of the people who from Days of Our Lives who went to the parade.
Yes. I feel like I'm sweating.
It's hot. It's hot out today.
And I'm dressing like it's a winter wonderland.
I know. Everybody who is not in California is freezing their butt off, but it is hot today.
It is hot. Speaking of, not sure how that transitions. What did we think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives?
Really good, really poignant, especially at the end there, of course. Yeah, I walked away sort of. I mean, I know it's a sad. We're gonna get into it, of course. I know it's sad, but it was also like there was a part that was like really uplifting, or a few parts that were like really uplifting, and it was one of those of like, oh, like Days is on it, like this is
Mm-hmm.
I remember this is what we watch for, yes, the crazy plot lines, but also like the familial connections that we definitely got that, especially the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Everyone worked so hard this week, even in the beginning of the week, to make sure that the mood was poignant, that it wasn't just sad, that it was that the feeling of gratitude permeated the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought this week was fine. It definitely, I think, didn't really pick up until Thursday. And I thought the way that Thursday was handled, I thought the way that Friday was handled beautifully.
Mhm.
So let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah.
It is now time to start
Dishin Days.
Dishin Days. Wow, I actually think we got very close on that one. So shout out to us for that. Let's kick things off with the biggest storyline this week, which is Goodbye, Doug / Bill Hayes. Um,
Mhm.
while we knew this was coming, I felt like the way that they did it, I thought was really great. It was like everything was happening and going about as if it were the typical day.
Mhm.
And then life hits you like a ton of bricks. And we saw how it began to affect everyone. And for me, it was just such a touch. It was such a touching moment to see the women of Salem there to console Julie right off the bat. To see the Horton living room filled with the women of Salem, most of them. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I also want to commend Susan Seaforth Hayes because I think she continues to show us the type of woman that she is. That is a strong woman. That is a strong woman to grieve for her friend, her partner, her life, her co-star, and to see her, which I think we all felt, to see her kind of have to go through that again for the TV side of their life. I looked at her and I said, that is a strong woman, but she is surrounded by so much love. So kudos to her and the cast for just being there to uplift her, to console her, not only as Julie, but also as Susan.
Mhm.
There you go.
For me, I love the women coming together was such like a beautiful scene. I wasn't expecting that, and then when it was happening, it was like, oh. And the funny thing was, I remember now after it played out, I remember seeing a picture of that actually, but I didn't know the context of what it was. I assumed it was just a picture of them all on set that day, and everyone, everyone just deciding to take a picture together. So to see sort of have that memory of it coming back of like, oh, I've seen this before, but to see it actually play out on the show was just really beautiful. And again, we don't get a lot of that sometimes. I mean, it's unfortunate that a character has to die to sort of get that sort of writing. But yeah, I thought that part was really beautiful. I thought the way everyone was used was perfect. Like I like that it was Jack who went up there because he would be in the house and they used to live together. I thought that I loved Julie having her moment with Eli, and then that relationship and her not being surprised, but also allowing them to have a good amount of screen time together for this. And then like him being the one to escort her to the room and make sure she was okay. Like I liked that. I liked Missy Reeves being there, which I thought was really nice, just to exemplify the history that they have. And I mean, if it was Katie, I wouldn't have minded. But I like the fact that Melissa got to sort of be in those scenes. I loved the conversation with Hope. I just think everything about it was just taken with such care. And I know some people, I was reading online, some people weren't didn't know how to feel about the body double. I actually thought it was a good idea. I like that we saw some representation of him, as opposed to maybe if they wouldn't have done it that way, maybe they would have covered up his whole head and then we would have seen sort of like an outline, I guess. But I like,
or if it was shot like way above to where it's indicated that he's in the bed. But
exactly.
like,
but I actually liked the use of the body double. I liked Susan's interaction with it. It gave more than just if she was sort of by a bedside that would have been theoretically empty, I guess. But no, I just thought it was handled with such like great care, and they gave like Susan some great material to work with, and to have that play out can be kind of tricky and weird and sort of macabre in a way, but I think it came through as they intended it to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm having a really difficult week because Thursday morning when they did the Doug had died, my best friend's mom passed away. So I'm having a really difficult week trying to keep it together. I'd only watched those 2 episodes last night, and I thought that the way that they did it, and I'm trying to timeline it where it was like they filmed this about 6 months ago, so it would have been about 6 months after Bill passed, and it's just still so fresh in Susan's mind at that point. And I am so glad that I got to be on the red carpet at Day of Days this year and convey to her that we as fans so appreciate the strength that she had to do those scenes, because it could have been really easy for her to say no. It could have been really easy for her to say, I need a timeout. I need a break from the show. I can't do this right now. And instead she dove right in and she said, I'm going to do this. And the way that the entire cast just surrounded her, that scene at the end was very much a lifted from real life. It almost felt like everything in Friday's episode was lifted from real life, because that's the understanding that we've gotten, is that for ever since Bill died, the entire cast has just enveloped Susan with their love and their support, and that she's never alone on set, that everybody's always checking in on her. And I think that has given her the strength and the support that she needed to be able to continue to be in Salem and find laughter and joy in this world that she and Bill really helped create. I mean, back in the day, it was Alice and Tom Horton's house, and they really were the center of the show. But for the last 30 or so years, it's been Bill and Susan that have really just grounded everything. They've grounded the Horton house, the Horton family. As family has come and gone, and we have talked about the Hortons that, should come back, that haven't been around, they are the ones that have grounded this show. And Doug Williams has grounded this family, which for people who watched him since he's been on, it's kind of funny to think about how, you know, for like the first couple years, he was kind of like the charmer, and he wasn't always the good guy and things like that. You know, we forget because he's such an institution that Doug Williams was not always considered to be that. And so to every point that was hit on Friday's episode was just spot on, and I am really grateful for the little moments that everybody has mentioned, like, you know, Eli walking her up there. Everybody has their role to play. Everybody knows what they have to do, and we go, you know, when someone dies, that's what we do. We just go into, okay, what needs to get done, who's the best person to do it. You know, nobody but Missy could have delivered that news to Christian Alfonso's Hope. Nobody, I don't think anybody but Eli should have been there to literally physically hold his grandma up as she said goodbye to the love of her life. Everybody was where they were supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think sometimes for some people, the line between fiction and reality are blurred.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that, you know, like seeing Missy Reeves come in and reprise her role as Jennifer, because I think, and Matthew Ashford coming back, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think there are times where you realize this is important. You know what I mean? Like, it's important for me to be there. It's important for me to be a part of. It's, you know, it's important. For the love that they have for Bill, for Susan. So yeah, in that regard, I'm only assuming, like, you know, it's good when they're able to be like, yes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm there 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. I don't think it couldn't have been anyone else but Missy
Mm-hmm.
to have that phone call with Christian,
Yeah.
Jennifer, and Hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that, like, and that's what makes soap so different, right?
Yes.
We literally feel like we have been a part of their lives for decades. We've been through the ups, we've been through the downs. And in moments like this, when show meets reality, it's kind of like you're almost watching it and grieving in a larger scale. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you not only have the people that you've been watching for decades go through this, you're also going through this. Fans of the show are also going through this. It's a huge thing, and that's what sets soaps apart from
Mm-hmm.
other shows, is that, you know, in moments like this, you know, where reality and fiction blur or come together, however you want to see it, is important for everyone to kind of be there for one another.
Mm-hmm.
So some really beautiful stuff, but also, you know, we know what's coming up, the start of a lot of stuff. And I don't know how you all felt, but on Friday, when I was watching Friday's episode, which was basically pretty much dedicated to the passing of Doug,
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought of, like, this is Days of Our Lives.
Mm-hmm.
This is the show that we know and that we fell in love with. There was something that felt so right and so nostalgic and so like, yeah, like I just feel like I'm back in the time where I first started watching it, being like, this is why I fell in love with the show.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I fell in love with these characters. So it felt very right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, this is the show. Did you guys feel that too, or was it just me?
No, yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, I think Megan Bizarro said it too, and I think a lot of people were wondering, like, oh, they sort of decide to do this on Thanksgiving, but I think it was a way to, and I mean this in like the sincere, most positive way, sort of kill two birds with one stone in the sense of you want to honor what was going on, but also like we sort of got everything that we would have gotten during a Thanksgiving episode, if that makes sense, with everyone
Yeah.
coming together, everyone being there for each other. Unfortunately, the circumstances were someone's death, but I think we got exactly what we should have gotten from Days, or what we needed from Days, in a weird sense. So I'm understanding more the decision to do it on Thanksgiving as opposed to do it any other time. And I feel like we still got the family, we got the familial connections, we got what we love, all centered around this heartbreaking sort of situation. But we got everything that we needed from Days at that point, or things that or what we're used to getting on for a Thanksgiving episode, a holiday episode of Days.
Yeah. And everything, and the entire week was written so well in order to be staggered so that Friday could culminate in what it was supposed to be, where, you know, everybody's saying, well, like, why isn't Chad there? Well, that's because everything needed to be staggered in a certain way. You can't have, realistically speaking, you can't have 10,000 people in the Horton living room. You know, Chad will come home, unfortunately, to the news, but it allows for a little bit of a breathing room so that these other storylines can continue past this mourning period, because we're you know, life goes on and there's still things that are going to happen. It sets the stage for people who are already here for the holidays, and then people who are going to be coming back starting next week, and then people who are staying.
But it also, again, like what was said earlier, it makes sense, right? Because imagine this happening and suddenly everyone has to come back to Salem for this, right? Whereas everyone was coming back to celebrate Thanksgiving. So it kind of brought a regularity to why everyone was coming back, and then to go, okay, now we're gonna hit with this. And so now it's not this thing of because then if, let's say, Jack wasn't there, who would have discovered, like, how would that have played out?
Yeah.
So I think that makes it, because also imagine this, because sometimes I wish we lived in this world. What if we didn't know? Like, obviously we know the passing of Bill, because that's real life, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know how this was going to play out on TV. We didn't know who was coming back, and you know, imagine sitting here and watching the Thanksgiving episode, like, all right, this is typical Thanksgiving episode, and then discovering that. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we as fans thought, okay, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, you know, Jack and Jen are back in Salem. Eli and Lonnie have come back. Like, everything seems normal until. So that's what I think that's what I greatly appreciated about how they did this, was that they also didn't make it like a thing where, like, you know, he was in the hospital and you know, and all that. It was simply, he's upstairs taking a nap because it's going to be a long day. Jack, just go up there and nudge him and get him up and ready. And then, because that's sometimes how life is, you know? So I appreciated that. And I appreciated just how quickly everyone reacted, as they would in Salem, to be there with her. So, and like you said, Araceli, the other stories progress, right? You got Chad and Abigail and Gabby and JJ off to do that, because that's still going to continue while this is going on, you know? So it was great. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I will say,
uh-huh.
number one, I wish they would continue the trek of bringing characters in, even if it's just for a hot second.
Mhm.
I love Eli and Lonnie popping in. They look amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's like you look at them and you go, "Oh my God, Jesus."
Yeah.
But I chuckled when. So, how would you like to be on the force? How would you like to be a soap star? I'm like, oh, so we just passing out roles to everybody on Body and Soul.
Yeah.
Anybody could be a part of that show.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that later, but in terms of other things that we appreciated from this storyline, I know that everyone loved the flashbacks. Just those redone now HD flashbacks from the
Well, they
70s
had to be.
and 80s that are great. And I'll break the tension by pointing out something that I noticed, that it was just like, I don't know, I wouldn't have noticed unless it was like very, very big, that there was a flashback. And I've seen this flashback before when Doug gave Hope the baby blanket that her mom had knitted her. I've seen it before, but I don't know if it was because it was HD or what, that I noticed that Hope only had one earring on.
That was her thing back then. That was like a thing she used to do. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It was,
But
and
that was like
it
an
was-
80s thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
it was huge. That was a thing.
Yeah, Janet Jackson used to do that too. She
Oh
wore
my
one
God.
big earring,
Mhm.
and it was the key to the animal's cage.
Mm-mm-mm.
Like
Oh.
back then, like in the 80s, like early 90s, it was hip to wear one earring.
I mean, I get if it's like something like hip, like a key or something, but this was a very giant,
Yeah.
like gaudy, sparkly earring. It was very odd.
It was
I feel like
very
that
80s.
was Christian sort of just incorporating something of something she wanted to do into Hope, I think. Yeah. But yeah, it shows up other times too in those days.
Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of the flashbacks, I do like how, they continue to show the decades of like just relationships that
Yeah.
that Doug and Julie had with everyone. Jennifer had, her flashback. Maggie, I was like, you better work, Suzanne Rogers.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She had her flashback, and just seeing the love that Doug and Julie had. It was good. It was really good. I mean, kudos to the writers of Days, who again, they have to remember all that in order to like incorporate that.
Mhm.
So, because it was interesting, because as soon as the flashback came of Maggie and
And
Doug,
Mhm.
and it cut back to Maggie thinking about it, I was like, does she know that this is the clip? And she was like, oh, I just remember the time that we did the telethon. And I was like, oh no, the variety show.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I love that. I love that they had that moment and then they also explained it.
Yeah.
Can we do that again? We have a very talented cast. I would, like this. Nobody has to pay an audience to be there or anything. We don't necessarily need a big stage. But come on, let's do that. Let's do that again. I would love that.
It's gonna be the day players next.
Yes.
It's gonna be Justin Kiriakis, Brady Black, Johnny Dimera,
and they'll get Tate to come in for Brandon.
Because Stefan is in there.
Yeah, they'll get Tate in.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Tate. All of a sudden, they're either going to be stripping or playing a song.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And now it's just, we all know that the story is going to unfold. Some people are going to be returning to Salem. And this all coincides with the 15,000th episode of Days of Our Lives that happens next week. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
See how it goes. In loving memory to Bill Hayes, and also big hugs and healing and love to Susan Seaforth Hayes and the Hayes family.
Definitely.
Speaking of Turkey Day, the Horton House wasn't the only place that was celebrating Thanksgiving. We having Thanksgiving at the pub. You gotta love TV magic, right? Where they're all just at the table, almost kind of like the Last Supper.
Yes.
Yeah. It would have been a fun table where everybody liked each other until they invited the Kyriakises.
Well, some of the Kyriakises were fine. It was basically Philip.
Who ironically is the only one who should have been there. Like I would have been looking at everyone else like, okay, this is actually my family now. So
yeah. And I actually I appreciate so much what Alex said at the beginning of the week that that he's just trying, like he kept this attitude going of he's really just trying to be like keep things at bay, keep things peaceful after a year of chaos. And I actually really appreciate that attitude from him, that he's like he was actually sticking up for Xander, and I was like, wow, that's I love that. And that Xander and Brady are okay now. I mean, which some people argue might have happened too quickly, but you know, there it is. And so it's like there could be peace in the family if not for Philip.
I actually found him to be a bit nasty to Philip. I actually thought like maybe you could act. I actually was expecting him to be a bit neutral about it, quite honestly, considering everything he just went through, thinking he was Victor's son. So I thought like I guess I liked the fact that he sort of stood up for Xander there, but I also thought like, oh, this, and quite honestly, I don't think it really had anything much to do with Xander. I think it was about Stephanie, really.
Yeah.
I think that's what that was about. Maybe that's what the nastiness was, but I kind of was like, oh, shouldn't I either thought he'd be neutral or he not necessarily be on Philip's side, but I think he should have understood Philip's position. If that makes sense. After him just coming off of the idea that he thought he was Victor's son and had a certain amount of rights, and yeah.
Philip messed up dinner. He should have just came there. He shouldn't have said nothing. He should have just enjoyed a turkey and a Hawaiian roll. Which, oh, I'm sorry. Side note, where was the rest of Thanksgiving? They had a basket of. You're fine.
This light is bothering the hell out of me. I'm just gonna fix it.
They had a basket of bread, of good bread. However, where was the turkey? Where were the sides? Where was something? The table was decorated beautifully. Where was the food? Nobody knows. That was the thing that, like, of course, one of the things that I noticed, because I actually now look forward to seeing like when they have to eat something. I'm like, oh, what are they eating today? But they had nothing but bread. And then you go over to the Hernandez house, they had sweet potatoes. I'm like, who didn't put the order in for some prop food for Thanksgiving? I should have known. We all knew Thanksgiving was going to be a mess at the pub when Kate and Philip walked in and he addressed. Well, first, we knew it was going to be a mess when Alex and Stephanie saw each other. Then when Stephanie and Philip saw each other. And then when Philip saw Alex, it was like, oh, here we go.
But really, thank goodness that they finally brought up the history between Stephanie and Philip, because I'm like, everybody forgets that they used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I feel like we do need to tell Alex, when we say a while ago, we mean like like a few decades ago. Don't worry, you're fine.
Can we also address this? Before they went to the pub at the Kyriakis mansion,
Mhm.
let's say Sarah wanted to put her new legs to use.
Uh, she was
And
sitting
when
on the wrong end of the table. The cane would have been more effective. She could have put the cane to good use.
how?
Oh,
Well,
like
you know, just a little like
closing the door.
use
I
your
was like, now how
imagination.
you? I was like, now how you got your mama knocking on the door and you talking about come in? No, no. Like I know we're grown, but no. And I think, oh, I was so happy that Maggie just opened the door and
Me
she
too.
just talked from the other side because it's almost like I know that I don't want to walk in there and. I was like, how can y'all do that when
She
Maggie's
was
down?
cautious,
Yeah.
but yeah, Sarah should have just like kind of slammed the door. It's like, hold on. Instead of saying come in,
Yeah.
we're not coming
Come in.
in.
Not absolutely not. Not after y'all just did it. And I mean, everyone knew what was because they were like, let's just give them a few minutes.
Yeah.
So everybody just up and walking around the house and y'all just up there just doing the next thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
Annette Thompson said, good thing Maggie didn't let Bonnie go up and get him.
oh,
Because
Lord.
Bonnie would have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It was an interesting combination. First, I was like, why are the Kyriakis there? And then I realized, I mean, they would have naturally most likely gone to the Hortons, but I understand like with the stuff with Doug and stuff, I was like, oh, that makes sense. They're like, you're like moving this family over here for this day. So I was like, okay, if they're not going to the if they're not doing it at their house or whatever. And I also loved, I don't know if you well, probably Araceli, you know, the G8 shout out with Wally, the
Yes!
pizza for Thanksgiving.
Yes!
That was the GH thing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's
So
very prominent.
Okay. So for those who are not familiar, at Wally's other gig on General Hospital, he is a part of another storied family, the Quartermain family, and they historically cannot have a Thanksgiving dinner to save their lives. Every year they try, and every year they fail, and every year they have pizza on Thanksgiving because somehow, some way, dinner gets destroyed. I think 2 years ago they had an actual turkey, a live turkey, destroy the kitchen.
So yeah, that was a little shout out to GH and
not there. I'm sure Wally is very grateful to have one place he can have turkey.
Well, at least one that isn't burned.
Yes, one that isn't destroyed.
No, yes. And there was no hustle by Bonnie at all. It was like, do you smell that? And it's like,
oh. I know, right?
Oh, goodness. Well, happy Thanksgiving to the Kyriakises and the Johnsons.
Good way to mix up families.
Yeah, agree. All right. Well, let's keep it moving right along. Let's make a deal, shall we? This is now the Chad Cat storyline.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I know that we know that Jennifer Rose can throw down, but whew.
She walked in and it was over for Cat. She got a few words in, but as soon as they walked in with the bags, Jennifer was not having. She didn't even let her explain. She just there wasn't much said before Jennifer slapped the dog piss out of her. And I don't know. I feel so torn, y'all. I feel so torn because I get both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think I get a little frustrated when they don't understand her side. They've all had dealings with Clyde.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, this is her dealing with Clyde. And it's like, she feels very bad for what she had to do. But like she said, I'm sorry, my family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if my mom's alive or not.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I didn't mind the Jennifer confrontation, even though it was like, it feels like that scene in Airplane where everyone lines up to smack the woman who's sitting in the seat and they like make a joke out of it. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, oh God, another person. But I was okay with it because it was Jennifer and she was the one person who doubted her. So I was like, okay, this one is really fitting.
You're not my daughter.
Yeah. First of all, can Chad open his mouth and warn people? This like
Yes.
everyone's being surprised by when they walk into the house and she's there, and then like his excuse was, "Oh, she was going to be upstairs." I'm like, well, she's still in the house. Like it's not like she was banished to another realm. Like she's in the house with them. Like you didn't think to tell Jack and Jennifer, like she's here. I'll explain
Julie.
it later, or Julie even. Yeah. Okay, Julie did. I was like, oh, Julie, how dare you? When she said. When Julie was like, let Clyde have her. I don't care. I was like, oh God.
Jennifer did the same thing.
But she was really like, I don't give a shit. Like, let Clyde have her. I was like,
Jennifer,
oh, Julie, really?
Once Jennifer saw that JJ and Gabby was part of it, it was like, no, they want her. Give her. Like nobody cares about Kat. Everybody's like, what does Clyde want? Baby, come over here, pack your bags. Let me introduce you to Clyde. Honey, this is Kat. Clyde, Kat.
Oh my God.
Have her.
Yeah. Kat just has to, I mean, I kind of agreed with Chad a little bit at the end of the week there. He was like, I'm really over the apologies at this point. I was like, yeah, Kat, just stop saying you're sorry because they're not going to accept it. Just the only thing you can do right now is just apologize with your actions. Just be quiet, be contrite, and do what you got to do.
She's trying to.
Yeah.
They just won't allow her to do it. They are like, and now JJ and Gabby are involved. Jennifer is definitely like,
yeah.
Jennifer looked at her and said, baby, you think Clyde is a problem. Let one hair on my baby's chinny chin be out of place. You will have to deal with me.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I got one kid left and you're going to be put in harm's way for the... And I like that finally someone said, is it worth it? Like no one else has said that during this whole time. And I'm like, is it really worth it? Like, I don't know. I guess I get it, but also, do you really want... Yeah, is it worth it essentially for the remains?
I mean, I think Chad made the point that it's not just about Abigail's remains. It's about finally, it's about how they're never gonna be safe from Clyde, and it's not as if they could ignore him and he would go away. This man has literally gone out of his way to torture this family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like they could just let him ride off into the sunset and do his criminal deeds elsewhere. He's in their face all the time. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
They are going to give. Cat to her. Cat to him. Very giving. It's giving Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, God.
And yeah, I mean that's pretty much what happened with that, and then everything else started happening.
I did like Gabby's reasoning because I had forgot. Like when she kept bringing up Clyde, I was like, "Wait, what's the connection?"
Oh yeah,
like, I knew there was a connection, but I couldn't. The fact that she reminded us again, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. He did target you and have your legs broken."
She was just sitting in that jail.
Yeah,
she was just sitting in jail.
Yeah,
minding her business.
They reminded us, of that.
Here he come messing with her, telling people to go punch her and do all this stuff to her. She was just sitting there trying to eat her grilled cheese sandwich and hold on to her cigarettes. Anywho, well, those were your top storylines, and we are going to move on to tidbits. But before we do, Just a little reminder, make sure you follow us on social media. We're Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you would like to join our members only page for $4.99 a month, make sure you do that. When you do join, make sure you watch the welcome video and the first virtual happy hour that details everything that you will get with the membership. Also, make sure you find us on your favorite podcast station, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and now video on Spotify. So go ahead and check us out, Dishin Days on there. And also show some love to JLJ Media on YouTube. Tell James Lott Jr. we said hello and that we sent you. And also keep telling us your thoughts. We're in the comments. You guys are chatting among yourselves, which we absolutely love. And also make sure you comment below your thoughts. And now we go into our tidbits. And the first one, make her an offer she can't refuse. EJ, go sit down.
I mean, you know what I look at it as, like it's just very much EJ, and it's nice to have things to rely on. You know what I mean? The tides come in and out, the sun goes up and down, and damn if EJ Dimeras doesn't make the situation
worse,
10 times worse whenever he gets involved. It's nice to have things to rely on.
Yep. I was like, didn't you just learn this lesson with Sloan a few months ago? Like, EJ,
No.
just stay out of this. It literally, kind of has nothing to do with you at this point. So just really stay out of it. Although, I guess it's nice to see him trying to be a good dad and trying to do this for Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny shouldn't be so guilty. He shouldn't. It didn't warrant that.
No.
Yeah.
It didn't warrant that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it made no sense to go get that drunk and then decide, okay, I'm going to do this to get back at her. And then now she's so intertwined in your life. Like,
yeah. Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait until it's all revealed. However it comes out, I can't wait. Whether Alex spilled the beans, whether Joy tells on herself, whether Johnny has another dream and blurts it out loud, however it is. And okay, can we take a poll really quick? Should this be a poll? I don't know. You guys tell me afterwards. Who wants Joy to leave? I don't think she should leave.
No. Look, EJ is under the impression that one, she can be bought, and two, that she's a troublemaker. Which seriously, dude, your misogyny is showing. But Joy is just a lonely girl. She made a mistake. And again, not as big as the one that Johnny did, because Johnny made like several different mistakes before he even slept or whatever he did with Joy, because at this point they're not saying, and it's really still annoying. But I'm sorry, what maybe was not innocent, but in terms of her culpability, is like minuscule in comparison to Johnny's.
Yeah.
Johnny could have stopped it.
Yeah. I gotta give MVP to Rob Wilson. Those faces when Chanel was describing the dream, and he was just like biting at the chest of like, oh girl, like this is some BS. Like the faces he was making had me cracking up.
Yeah. I do respect this newfound or I don't know if it's newfound or maybe it's just that Alex is now kind of getting back to who he was in terms of, it's none of my business. I'm staying out of it. It is none of my business.
Do you know why it's none of his business? He can't seem to find a shirt.
His business is
finding a shirt.
His business is getting on those Cyber Monday deals and looking for some new shirts.
I mean, listen, now granted, don't mind. Don't mind
Yes,
at
no complaints.
all. Walk around your house in the way that you would like. But yeah. Anywho, that's that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
On to the next tidbit. Javi twerking on the fence. Do y'all feel like Javi is overreacting and that he should just give Leo another try? Ain't nothing but two gays in Salem. It's him and Leo.
um,
Everybody else is going to be 40 miles away at least, or however far Chicago is.
I think he would be overreacting if he was going out of his way to be nasty to Leo, but Leo is like constantly up in his business and up in his house, and I feel like that, I think Javi just wants some peace. And we don't know Javi's history. He could be like someone who is not good with heartbreak. We don't know that much about him yet. So,
But don't you think there's room for understanding how Leo came to that conclusion?
I think that there's definitely room for it. But like I said, we don't know Javi's personal romantic history. So, I tend not to judge when I don't know.
I say he should, just because it feels like he wants to, but he's stopping himself from just doing it. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like he actually did probably forgive Leo, but he's like sort of standing on pride as kind of a thing. So it's like, okay, well, you know, you're really not mad anymore, so just like forgive the guy and move on. But yeah, I think if it didn't seem like he actually was still mad, I'd feel differently. But I feel like he's being prideful now and doesn't want to sort of give in and offer forgiveness. But it seems like he's melting on that. So it's like, okay, well, just forgive him and you know, maybe you don't date him, but you know, you can forgive him because you're really not mad anymore about it.
He's very much a like c'est la vie kind of a character, where it's like, well, if things are good, that's great. If things are bad, that's okay too. If you're gonna, if you have a problem with me being mad at you, too bad.
I just feel like it's something that could have just been a conversation, some understanding of like, I don't know you, but like if 2 + 2 = 4 and 5 + 5 = 10, you sitting on my laptop and suddenly all of a sudden all this stuff is out. Like that's the only thing that I have to go on because no one else has had my information except you, or had an opportunity to see my information but you. And then if he didn't do it, like he discovered that he didn't, then it's like, you apologize, you talk about it, you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to them.
Good luck.
He's a little bit of a shit stirrer too, especially with like the Rafe and Jade and stuff. I was like, Javi, what you doing? Yeah, I like this unveiling of him. We're getting a little bit more each time, and I feel like there's something to come. Like they got to give us something big regarding him. Like I need
like a big reveal.
Yeah, like I need either an ex-boyfriend or maybe not him running from something in Texas, but I need something to give us a little bit more of a peek into his personality and stuff. He's running from Terrence.
Well, I mean, we might be waiting for a while because look at how long we had to wait for growth from Leo for Leo to tap into. We got a lot of reminders from Marlena and Alex about how much Leo has grown and how he's actually doing the work in therapy. He's doing the work on actually apologizing. And I think the only people who have known Leo for a long time would notice the difference. Javi just met him. The people who have known Leo for a long time would recognize what a freaking big deal it is that Leo Stark actually went and genuinely apologized to someone and is working to make it right. Is not only saying the words, but walking the walk in terms of making it right. Like I'm gonna hire Rafe. I'm gonna find out what really happened. I believe you, and I'm going to really set this right.
Rafe did not look like he wanted to take that case.
Well, you know what? That just you got to make money now. So you know what?
Yep.
If you're not on a government salary, this is what you got to do.
Listen, the way
sometimes you want to take.
the way that he just sashaying through the house, like, man, sounds like he's all right to me.
Mhm.
And Leo, please stop barging into Dr. Marlena Evans' black office with your non-appointment having self. Stop walking in that lady's office. That lady is busy. She is the only psychiatrist in Salem. She ain't got time for your shenanigans.
At the very least, you know, she knows there is now another comfort in the fact that he's done it so many times that if someone barges in her office, she doesn't have to figure out who it is. She could close her eyes, wait for the door to open, say, Leo?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's pretty much it from that storyline, right? Yeah. Before we move on to our last tidbit, just want to give a quick shout out to Christian Me World. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And also to our brand new members of our exclusive only page. Teresa, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And also Steven, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you guys pay attention to the first video. Also, make sure you hit the link. Don't share it with anybody. Make sure you hit the link so that we can get your information. That way you'll get details on what's to come. And there you go.
Welcome.
All right. Last tidbit. Under pressure. That family pressure.
Someone else who had just spot on expressions this week was Mr. Eli Grant. From the moment he walked in the door, his face was like, this is I'm dealing with my mother-in-law face.
Mm-hmm. And they know how to handle them. Like,
yes.
Yep.
This is also like, I'm back to this BS city.
Right.
Living my life quietly and pleasantly. Without all the stunt shows and shenanigans.
And I know they kept saying, like, we're fine now, but the plan is to always move back. I feel like it was like, oh, are you guys setting up for something? Or are we getting... maybe not something in the near future, but something in that is, I don't know. They're dropping, I feel like they were dropping like little nuggets of, because usually when someone comes back, they'll say like, oh, we miss our family here, but we have, we have a great life in we have a great life in Phoenix or abroad or wherever. But I feel like they constantly kept saying, Salem's our home. We're coming back, just not right now. And I'm like, it's just not right now code for 8 months from now. Like they'll be back on the canvas. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they went out of their way to specifically keep saying that. And we usually don't get that from characters.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I think essentially because of the fact they just keep popping in, and Paulina obviously wants them there. I think us as fans want them there. But I mean, it started making sense in the beginning when Paulina offered the job back to Salem PD to Eli. I was like, that makes sense. It didn't make sense to get an offer for Body and Soul.
Listen, she got about as much experience as half the cast, so which is none.
Yeah.
So
they said, now Lonnie, we saw you on the TV on that, what's that show called? BET Sisters, and we think you would be great for Body and Soul. Side note, if you guys aren't watching Sal Stowers on BET's Sisters, you should. She's doing a phenomenal job over there.
Well, at least they offered her the role of a cop. So technically she has more experience than most of the cast because she was a cop. She at least got that part down.
Well, come on back when y'all ready.
Yes, we will welcome you wholeheartedly.
And with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, that was your week of days. And it's now time for our favorite part of the show and my most nerve-wracking part of the show when Michael Mattis isn't here. That's right. It's our segments, everyone. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
Yeah.
There we go. My 3 Snaps award goes to a woman who was not having it, was not waiting for an explanation, and knew all along that this was not her daughter. I'm talking about Miss Jennifer Devereaux, honey, who slapped the everlasting life out of Kat, also known as Abby Fail, within 2.5 seconds. She walked in just like, and as she was trying to explain, she was like, "Baby, ain't gonna no time for this. Okay, you're in the wrong." Just the whole scene with Jennifer and Kat. Just I was living for this moment. I was like, you better work. She doesn't want y'all. He wants her. Send her. And when she walked up, oh my, there were just so many golden moments. So Missy Reeves, Jennifer Horton Devereaux, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps award.
Oh snap!
All righty. And now we don't have captioned that. Why? Because Michael Mattis isn't here. But what we do have is
Those were the days.
All right, everyone. I'm taking you back to November 25th, 2015, when we had Olivia Rose Keegan debut as a teenage Claire Brady. Her debut coincided with the 50th anniversary of the show, when they were bringing teenage Claire back to attend her grandfather Beau's funeral. And she's been off campus, of course, with Belle and Sean living in Maine for the last few years. And if you want to see me, or for our members who want to see me take a little bit of a time jump backwards, I do a little bit of a walk down memory lane to Claire's both conception and her paternity reveal. So go check that out in the next couple of days on Those Are the Days Extended. But yeah, that was November 25th, 2015, when Olivia Rose Keegan debuted as a teenage Claire. And we hadn't seen the character since she was about a toddler at this point.
And
Those were the days.
and now it's time for It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to not one, but 2 Days of Our Lives characters. That would be Jada and Rafe, trying to have a nice Thanksgiving meal and being that couple that just can't deal with that one relative on Thanksgiving.
It's a good one.
There's always one.
Mm-hmm.
We're in love, but don't try it. We're in love, but don't try it. To be honest, the runner-up for the 3 Snaps award was Jada, because on Monday, when Paulina came in and she was like, "Why haven't you found Hattie?" Jada looked at her like, now I'm going to try to say this as professional as possible.
Yes.
That's how you handle something very professionally, very HR, and being like, per my last email, I'm doing everything I can. But if you don't like it, you can always.
It was screaming very much Regina King on Big Bang Theory HR person.
It was given like, ma'am, I don't have time for this. I'm working. Anyway, that was It's a Gift. Okay, because listen, we are trying to keep things lovely, but don't push it. Lovely, but don't push it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a little bit of news and gossip.
Starting off on a little bit of a sad note here, we just got word, I think this weekend, or specifically this morning, that Wayne Northrop unfortunately passed away this Friday. He had been dealing with early onset Alzheimer's for about the last 7 years or 6 years. So he unfortunately succumbed to that. We found out And of course, we know him as the original Roman Brady. He did his first run was from 81 to 84, second run 91 to 94. And then, of course, he came back in 2005 as Alex North. But we just want to wish or send out just condolences and prayers to his two sons. And, of course, his wife, Lynn Herring, who many of you know from GH. But yeah, really sad news. I think Days is just this year. It's been hit with a lot of death and passing, and we're losing sort of our legends at this point. So yeah, just kind of really sad news, and just to hear how he was 77, so still relatively young, So yeah, our
Hug your
condolences.
people.
Yeah.
Hug your people, folks. Yeah. And while we say goodbye to some legends and some characters, we're saying hello to some new ones, and so hello to some new history that some people probably forgot about. Peyton Meyer, we saw a little bit of his character briefly in the Day of Days video that was released a few weeks ago. Now we get word that he is indeed coming to the canvas this Tuesday, December 3rd, as Doug Williams III. Yes, for people who are not aware, Doug Williams had not one, but two children. He just only raised one of them. So he had a son that he did not raise. And so this will be Doug Williams III, his grandson. And the character of Doug will be very reminiscent in attitude in terms of who his grandfather was in his early days on the show. So expect to see young Doug be a little bit of a morally gray character, and you see he's going to be interacting with the family. I'm really excited about this, guys. Yeah. See, life moves forward.
Yeah, we have to get reminders of older characters and that generation, unfortunately. Yeah, speaking of, we have Susan Seaforth Hayes actually sat down with Soap Opera Digest, and just to give a little insight of some of the stuff we talked about earlier, she talked about filming those sort of goodbye scenes to Doug / her husband in a way. She said it was stirred up a lot that was hard. She, of course, thanked the cast again, who just has embraced her since day one, and just been amazing and great. And I think she really just leaned into pouring herself into work, and that the Days cast and crew and the whole production was just always there for her. And she did give us a little tidbit that Deidre Hall, who we know she's close to, was sort of kind of acting as a little bit of her personal coach there. I think she said Deidre was sort of at the monitors while she was doing her scenes, and was just sort of there being like a really great supportive friend and looking out for her and sort of giving her, for lack of a better word, pointers on sort of which take to do or not to do, just so that this sort of goodbye came off flawless on screen. And so she's just said that that everyone was just around her and supporting her during this time. So it was hard, but fulfilling, I guess, in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up, if anybody has been paying attention to the Days Peacock page online, we have a couple of new videos that they are sharing. The first being the game of Devour, Commit, and Trash Thanksgiving edition, where the cast named a Thanksgiving dish that they personally would apply to each one. And then they also shared their favorite Thanksgiving traditions, including Leo Howard demonstrating his turkey call. And Leo Howard was demonstrating a lot this week. So if you're paying attention to his socials and his wife Natasha's socials, you see he's kind of a character off screen in a way he isn't on.
That honestly cracked me up. The whole guys, go watch the video, because they, in addition to him doing this, whenever they cut to someone else sort of giving like a serious sort of somber answer, then they would cut back to him doing the call. It honestly was so funny. I laughed out loud multiple. I mean, who knew he was so funny and gregarious? And
he's hilarious.
It was really hilarious. Go check that video.
Yeah, I think that he and Brandon Brosh spent some time during this Thanksgiving week together, and Leo's wife Natasha caught a very I'll say interesting scene on camera.
What was so interesting about it?
I could only describe it as a turkey twerk.
Not the turkey twerk.
Yes. And if anyone has been having trouble finding the promos for each week, it's because Days of Our Lives has debuted a new official YouTube page. If you go to the Days socials online, you'll be able to link right up to it. It's youtube.com/@dayspeacock. So this is now the official new page. I believe the old page is still there, but this is the new page where you will find bonus content, weekly messages, and upcoming promos.
I think the new one is this now.
Oh, it's at official days.
Is it?
Official Days of Our Lives. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
if I had trouble finding it, but if you go to the social media page, it has the direct link already there to the new YouTube channel. If
At least
anybody
that's what it says online.
No, I think you're right. I think the other one is still up there. It's hard to like you'll see. Yeah, go to this one, but if you go to the other one is still up there too. So it's a little confusing. But no, you're right. It is the official Days of Our Lives. Yeah.
Yes. That one.
Yes. And for anybody who is in town and like these two gentlemen up here who are going to be going to the Hollywood Christmas Parade later tonight, you will see Miss Deidre Hall and Miss Susan Seaforth Hayes. They will be participating in today's parade. If you're not in the LA area or unable to attend, it is actually going to air on television later this month on the CW, December 14th at 8 p.m. And you can also, if you're in the Southern California area, it's going to be live on KTLA here at some point. So you can still catch it even if you're not in town, or even if you're not like these gentlemen who are probably going to try to find them.
And except we have a few reminders. The day players, they have wrapped up sort of their tour for the rest of the year, but they have included a ton of new dates for next year. So they are going strong. They're taking a little bit of a holiday break, but they're coming back. They've announced already new shows 2025 in Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville, Birmingham, Oklahoma City, and Addison, Texas. And they are booked through April. So all tickets and info, you can go to thedayplayersband.com.
Yes, and I'm not sure if it's the last, but if you're keeping track, it might be presumably be one of, if not the last Zoom that you can go to for the remainder of December, which is the end of 2024. There will be a concert Zoom. Yes, it's not just a Q&A Zoom. It's a concert Zoom with Eric Martzoff and friends, and that will be Sunday, December 15th. The tickets and information are going to be found at eventbrite.com/Star Image Entertainment. So if you're looking for an early stocking stuffer for a friend of yours, this would be the one to do.
Interesting stocking stuffer.
Virtual stocking stuffer, Matt.
And we have an announcement for an event coming up early next year, April 5th through 6th. This one is the Cinco de Derby event from Starstruck Fan Events, and it's taking place at the Meadowlands Racetrack in New Jersey. And as you can see, we have Paul Telfer. God, I keep on saying Lindsay Arnold. I stop myself from saying, Lindsay
Godfrey.
God, I keep doing that. Judy Evans, Matt Ashford, Julie Dove, and Remington Hoffman. All tickets and information, you go to starstruckfanevents.com.
And ladies and gentlemen, that has been
News and gossip.
And now it's time to find out what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
It's time. Time to say goodbye.
Days of Our Lives marks a milestone. 15,000 episodes.
I wonder who's going to come back for his memorial.
Hey, sis. Long time no see.
You're not that delighted to see me, Marie.
With a celebration of life.
I lost the love of my life today, but I feel love all around me. From all of you.
That lasts all week long.
I love you so, so much.
This is going to be tough, but I feel like it's going to be so classic days. Like like just seeing some of the returns. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be It's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. Oh, look. Sorry to change the subject, but looks like Laurel CL is going to go to the event in New Jersey.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Lets us know that us reporting about it is not done in vain. All right. Well, that has been Dishin Days, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Before we head out, Justin Lee Hareld,
Right.
where can they find you on the interwebs?
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
And the coolest Tia around, Miss Araceli, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And make sure you show some love to Michael Mattis. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter X at ML Mattis. And you can find Little Old Chocolate Me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And of course, you can find us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter X, and Threads. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We hope that you are now recovering from Thanksgiving and ready to start the last month of 2024. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back next week to serve up another full dish of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Enjoy, everyone. See you next week. Bye.